Hi, Hufflepuff Hollis here. I'm going to continue my throwback review of the Harry Potter movies, and today I'm going to talk about Prisoner of Azkaban. I hate to be the generic Harry Potter fan that says that Prisoner of Azkaban is my favorite movie, but it kind of is. Sorry. It's also my favorite book, and I promise I didn't know that this was like the stereotype until like recently. So like Prisoner of Azkaban's always been my favorite. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it for whatever reason. First and foremost, the thing that I love most about this movie is the music. I think this was John Williams' last time uh, composing the music, and he went out with a bang. This is probably one of the best soundtracks in the whole series. I think in middle school, this is the one that I was obsessed with the most. Um, Back in middle school, when I was going through my depression, the song Buckbeak's uh, Flight was probably the song that I listened to when I was at my lowest points because I would just have to close my eyes and imagine that I was flying around Hogwarts, and that was kind of like an escape for me. The best thing about Prisoner of Azkaban, just in general, is the story of the Martyrs, James, Sirius, Remus, and Peter. I think everyone wants like a spin-off of some sort about them because they're just so they're just it's just a nice story. They're a nice group of friends. The meddlesome kids running around Hogwarts. Like, who doesn't want who doesn't want to hear stories about that? I love Sirius Black's character. I think Gary Oldman does a good job portraying him. I love the story between and the relationship between him and Harry. Like, even though it's only for a little bit, which is sad, of course, but I love their interaction between each other. I love Remus Lupin. He's my favorite character of the entire series, no doubt. I love him so much. I just personally relate to his story, not just in this movie, but his story in general, like his whole life. If you go on Pottermore, he has like a whole biography, and I can read that and cry and relate. Like, I just love him so much. I think I can make a whole video just talking about how much I love Remus Lupin. The time traveling part was actually really cool. Now, usually time travel doesn't really fit well with anything, but I think J.K. Rowling did this part really well. I think it's raining. Really. Okay. Anyways, time travel. If you know anything about the cursed child, you know that whole time traveling business in the play really messed everything up. But here in Prisoner of Azkaban, it's used really well. It's the best part of the movie. It's like the climax. I love how they use it to save Buckbeak and Sirius, and it's just really entertaining. I think they did a good job with that. I love Harry's little story arc about trying to do the Patronus charm. He spends so much time trying to get that expecto patronum out, and when he finally does, it's a beautiful moment. I think there's one time he's in the astronomy tower, he gets it, beautiful beautiful moment, and then when he's in the forest and he saves himself and Sirius, that's such a beautiful moment as well. The music always helps. um I like the night bus scene. I think that's such an iconic scene in the series, and it's funny. I get a kick out of it every time. Uh, Dumbledore. This is the first movie that Michael Gambon is Dumbledore, and I have to say, I loved Richard Harris, I think his name was, the one that did the first Dumbledore. I loved him a lot, but I also like Michael Gambon. Like, I can't really choose between because they're both really good. I think it's just they portray him they portray the best parts of Dumbledore in different ways, if that makes any sense. And I really like Michael Gambon as Dumbledore, and I like him in the further movies. I think he does a good job, but this is the first introduction. I also want to shout out to Snape. So funny. The page 394 scene is probably one of my favorites. I love him. He's so savage. Say what you want about the character, but he is so funny. I love the scene with Hermione punching Draco. I think everyone loves that scene. I mean, she's such a bamf. Like you can't go wrong with that scene. That is so good. Um, I love the Hippogriff scene. I think I mentioned about the song that plays in that scene. I love it so much. I think this is just one of those times where you see Harry enjoying the wizarding world and its magic and glory, and he's flying around the grounds of the school, and it's a beautiful moment, and I can watch it over and over again. And he's filled with pure happiness, and that moment flying on the Hippogriff, and it's just the Hippogriff. Buckbeak himself looks beautiful, and I think he's one of my favorite. Hippogriffs are probably one of my favorite magical creatures in the series. What else? The Whomping Willow scene was pretty good, with Harry and Hermione tackling the Whomping Willow. I think that was a funny scene. One scene that I wish that they put in the movie is the scene where Sirius Black comes into the dorms, and has a knife with Ron, like in front of Ron, he's like I think he's trying to kill Scabbers or whatever, or Peter Pettigrew, I guess we should call him now. I think there's a deleted scene where Ron is talking about it, but like the whole scene isn't there. I think that's in the books, and that was like so funny because Ron's just or Harry is like dreaming, and then all of a sudden Ron is like, ah, and it's like this whole scene and chaos, and I really enjoyed that part in the book. I really enjoyed, I just enjoyed this movie. There's not really any particular scene that I could really be like, oh yes, that's the best scene, except for the ones that I mentioned already. The whole mystery about what's going on with like who ratted Lily and James to Voldemort, who sold their souls to Voldemort. I think that was a very compelling storyline, and we really see Harry grow up in this movie, and not just the character but the actors themselves, like not just Daniel Radcliffe but Daniel, Emma, and Rupert. I think they've all kind of grew up as actors in this film, and I think the director, that was kind of his goal. Like the story was kind of going into a little deeper to what was going on, and I think the director really wanted the actors to connect to their characters more, and you can see that it really shows in a lot of the scenes. And I think this is just a solid movie. I can watch this movie. This is one that I can, like, if I'm in a Harry Potter mood, this is probably the movie I'm gonna watch. It's just so nice, and it's the movie before Voldemort comes back. So this is just before everything just goes downhill. Everyone still loves each other. We're all friends. So this is definitely the start or the end of a chapter in the series, and also a beginning. And it definitely gives us hype for what's to come, because now that Peter Pettigrew's on the loose, you know that this is about to go down, especially with that scene with Trelawney where she's giving her prophecy. Already right off the bat, you know, okay, this means that things are about to get real after this year. One last thing, I love the scene with Fred and George when they give Harry the Martyrs map. I feel like I should have mentioned that before when I brought up the story of the Martyrs, because I just think, you know, J.K. Rowling and her thing with connections is that's just one of those scenes, you know, every time I see it, it's just like, ugh, of course Fred and George, of all people, have his father's map of the school. So I feel like there's a lot more I could say. I definitely don't think this was the best review I've given. I've just been kind of like rambling on about the movie. It's one of my favorites. I think I'm gonna watch it tomorrow when I start my Harry Potter marathon, so I'm really excited about that. Comment below, out of the first 3 movies, which one do you think was the best? Or you can say which one was your favorite of all 8, or just comment about the Martyrs. Maybe we can start a discussion about the Martyrs. Like and subscribe if you want to do that. I don't care. I just want to start this. I just want to start a Harry Potter community, and that's all I want to do. So let's talk about Remus Lupin. Let's talk about Harry. Let's talk about the Martyrs. Let's talk about Michael Gambon as Dumbledore. Just talk. Let's just talk. Okay. I hope you liked this review. If you didn't, I just hope that this review made you think about Prisoner of Azkaban, and I'm hoping that this video was like, made you think, I should go watch the movie right now. So, yeah, Hufflepuff Howl is out, I guess. Bye.